Right, well, good morning everybody, and welcome to our latest quickfire webinar on getting ready for Christmas. Just to say, I'm going to be presenting today. My name's Gail Cookson and I'm International Fundraising Director, and I'm going to be ably assisted by my colleague Vicky, who is my beautiful technical assistant. WPNC, we are an agency which specialises in digital, direct and DRTV. And we work with a lot of charities, and I think some of them may well be in the audience today. And throughout our time, we've obviously picked up a lot of ideas and tested and tried different things in different ways to boost Christmas donations. So we felt it was appropriate to have a share of those ideas now in September. So just to say what we're going to cover, a little bit more on why now, some simple ideas to boost donations. I'll try and cover as many channels as I can in the time. And if you've got questions, then can you drop them in the chat zone? So off we go. Let's get Christmassy. First of all, why now? So, according to eBay ads, around 25% of us who celebrate Christmas have already started thinking about festive shopping before the end of August. So this is a bit of audience participation now. Would you like to put in the chat if, yes, you have thought or indeed bought something for Christmas, or indeed no, you're a bit of a congenital last minuter like me and you haven't started to think about it. So just a bit of fun to get us going. Obviously it will not be statistically valid, but just something to get us going. And also according to eBay, we've got 30% of us plan to spend more this year than we did last year. And let's hope we can all be together, because many of us were in lockdown last year and Christmas really wasn't Christmas. So it really is never too early to start thinking about Christmas, because our donors and public out there are thinking about Christmas. And we also know that Christmas is traditionally a very popular time for giving, so even more reason. And last year, Facebook revenue in December rose to 18%, compared with around 6 and 11% in the previous 2 months. So it's a busy time and a generous time. So here are some top tips for Christmas. First, let's look at DRTV and thinking about the script as a starting point. This is a really simple one. Mention Christmas. It may seem obvious, but give a gift at Christmas. Immediately you're saying it's urgent, it's now. Christmas is often a cold time of year for us, so if it's relevant, mention the impact it'll have on your cause. Connect to things that people naturally think about at Christmas, like home, family, food, and focus, if possible, on things that the donor's gift could do at Christmas time. So things like help bring home a sick child at Christmas, bring someone in from the cold, or give cheer to someone on their own this Christmas. Although many of you will have regular giving as your kind of key proposition and key strategy, what we see every year is that cash donations are really popular at Christmas. So it is worth considering that you may want to give that offering, particularly about this time of year. Then on to the visual side of things. Well, as you may have already noticed, my slides have been peppered with tinsel and baubles and all sorts of things. And I'd like to particularly thank my creative colleague for doing that. It may be a bit cheesy, but actually it immediately signals to everybody that it is Christmas and that here is something different that we should think about. You might also want to change the opening screen so it looks new, and therefore viewers think, oh, this is something different, and they pay attention. It also gives a sense of urgency. It's Christmas, it's now. Don't forget your media. So get in and book as early as possible, because it is busy. If you want the best spots, you need to book as near to the deadline as you can. A word about free spots. They are available and across different channels. Frankly, in my experience, sometimes they're not worth the effort. So, no such thing as a free lunch. So just watch out for that. And dare I say that dull programming is great for DRTV. You want things that, people have seen Friends for the 27th time, and they don't mind then going and making a phone call or texting or doing whatever it is. So dull programming is where it's at. So moving on to online. Well, I guess 2020 must have been the year that online really came into its own. And here's some stats from a very recent benchmark study by M&R. So revenue up 35%. But interestingly, it was more people giving rather than people giving more. And as you can see from the other stats, it was also all about cash. So that makes me think that actually we have an issue we need to think about, which is the retention of cash donors. So many charities had kind of emergency style appeals, and therefore those cash donors may well behave a bit like disaster response givers. They give to the disaster and then they tail off. So hopefully this year you've been able to test different messaging. Is it still about cash? Can you convert them to regular giving? Can you make them advocates? And therefore track how they perform so that you can retain them and certainly hopefully get another Christmas gift from them. But building on the point about online, I think it's really important from our experience, we've seen that making appeal-specific online donation journeys is really critical. Customizing your journey so that both the message and ask are tailored to the campaign. So when doing your Christmas campaign, really think it all the way through and not as an afterthought, which can happen. So it's about thinking about the donation prompt, about the imagery, the content, right through to the thank you page. And we have a product called Go Donate. It's a donation platform. And we've seen from that, it makes so much difference when you do carry the whole message all the way through. So moving on, email. Well, I've always thought that email's been a bit of a sort of Cinderella in some respects. But I think just recently we've seen that our email lists have grown. Unsubscribe rates are quite low. But the number of messages pretty much remain flat throughout the year, according to the M&R study. So as we know that Christmas is a generous time, surely now is the time to ramp up those messages with an additional seasonal theme. So it could be, give that last minute Christmas gift, add one extra gift to your Christmas list, save a place at your Christmas table. Even advertise the opening times of your shops so that you drive traffic to retail. And talking of retail, what can we do about retail? Well, our high streets are full of empty units. So would it be possible to negotiate some sort of short-term deal for a Christmas pop-up and maybe get one of your celebrity supporters to donate something? The Elton John Foundation did amazingly from Elton's wardrobe. Not for everybody, but absolutely for their audience. And then a fairly shocking statistic, £42 million worth, it's estimated, of unwanted Christmas presents end up in landfill. This is from a packaging company. So we don't want it in landfill. It could really work well in your shops. So why not advertise your shop opening hours, open on Boxing Day if the volunteers were there. Do drive-by donation drops. People not only feel good that they're doing something, but they're also recycling something that's not going to go into landfill. So we're whistling through this at that great speed, which is good. A word about integration. We've mentioned it's a busy time for everybody. So it's really, really important to integrate your message. Review all your touch points and then think, what is the most clear, compelling ask you can make? Remember, online, you're going to be competing with crazy dog and cat videos. So you really need something that has standout and is simple. And of course, if you're using a new acquisition channel, like broadcast, for example, tell your existing donors to look out for it. Help them feel part of the cause and connected, and you might inspire them to make another gift. Number 9. Now, these are just some general thoughts for Christmas. There's actually a group of people who have not been able to spend their money. They haven't gone on holiday, they haven't been out for restaurants and stuff like that. And so they may have more disposable income than usual. So they could be an interesting audience to convert to support those less fortunate. We are a diverse society, so don't forget other religions. Muslim giving is huge, both at Christmas and at other times. And the 5th night of Hanukkah is all about giving back. So think in the round about all your audiences. And don't be afraid to try something new at Christmas, as more people tend to feel generous. So if it's going to work really well just then. We've also got Giving Tuesday coming up at the end of November. The website has lots of resources to help, as does Facebook. And look out for the Royal Mail Christmas stamps. Tests have proved that when you put a Christmas stamp on an envelope, it uplifts response. And I believe you can get the digital version as well of the Christmas stamp. So, last point, not about Christmas. Why don't you adapt your TV or social ad to encourage regular giving throughout the year? So it could be the New Year's resolution you can really keep all year round by making a monthly gift to X. And as John Hegarty said, when the world zigs, you zag. Okay, that was 10 tips, well, actually probably a few more than 10, done hopefully in nearly in 20 minutes. Wow. So if you've got some questions, please pop them in the chat and Vicky's going to have a quick look to see if there are any. And while you're just thinking about those questions, just let me tell you that there are some more quickfire webinars coming along. We've got one next week on social video, and then in October, got one in direct mail and online donations. So thank you very much for listening. And if anybody wants to contact us, there's some details there for John and myself. If there's anything that's interest that we can help in terms of a Christmas campaign. So Vicky, any questions, or has everybody been stunned?
Yeah, no, great. Thank you, Gail. That was great. Nice and quick, but loads of great tips in there, so really useful. Yeah, I've got one question coming already from Jessica, who said, what's your thoughts on plain versus photo outers for Christmas DM? You've got a thought on that. It's a very specific question. I don't know if you've got any feel on that.
Well, I think that's a really interesting one. And I have, and the answer is not going to be terribly helpful, in that I've tested both, and both ways can work, because the plain stands out because it's not all Christmassy, but the Christmas one stands out because it's Christmassy. So I think it's worth exploring. And of course, when you're doing something which is not plain, it's all about the image. If you have a really compelling image and a great headline, you're more likely to get it open. So probably if I were to, be forced to make a decision one way or the other, I would go with something that has a fantastic image and a compelling headline.
Right, thank you, Gail.
Mm.
There's a question in here from Karen. It says, apart from direct mailing, social ads and emails, are there any other mediums or platforms that are good for encouraging giving? So outside of direct mail, social ads and emails, can you think of any other good mediums or platforms?
Well, TV. I don't know which charity you're from,
Not sure.
but certainly you will see lots of Christmas campaigns by charities because they know it works. And if you have a charity appeal and a cause that is particularly relevant, then Christmas is a great time to do it. I mean, you've pretty much covered in the ones that you've suggested. And I can't really think what else one might do. I mean, door drop also works at Christmas. You probably will have needed to have planned that even a little earlier than September, to be honest, just to get the window.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, great. There's another question here saying, can we drop in the link for next week's session? So I will just quite quickly do that at the same time. So just bear with me while I try and multitask. Very sensible idea to have thought of that you might want that. Let me just give me a second. I should have that here. So so what you can do is, if I just drop the link in here, if you've either you can register for multiple sessions in one go as well. So but yeah, so if you register on there and just tick the sessions that you want to do. So as Gail mentioned, there's the social video next week, and then direct mail the following week, and then after that I'm doing online donations. Let me just see. There's another question here about will we send around the presentation. So what we've been doing is we're going to be recording this session. So we'll send around the recording in the next few days. So if you do want to forward it on to any of your colleagues, you're more than welcome to. I think they're the main questions so far. Let's just see if anybody's got any more before we finish.
And on our very inexact poll, it kind of looks like 50-50 whether or not you've started thinking about Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah,
with some saying absolutely not, and some saying I've started saving. Excellent.
Yeah,
so maybe the research is spot on.
Does sound about right. I think you start to think about it, but I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy any presents right now. Just admit, probably not quite there yet.
I had a colleague who by August would have done all her Christmas shopping.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes. It was actually scary, really.
Yeah. Right, I don't think there's any more questions, so I think we're good to finish it there. So yeah, thank you very much, Gail, on behalf of everyone there. I think we've seen a few people have said thank you, so hopefully that was useful, and yeah, good luck with your Christmas campaigns.
Yes, see you all soon.
See you all soon. Take care. Thanks, Em.
Bye.
Bye-bye.